welcome to another video from Alex Does DIY, and we're back out camping again. Do you ever have those moments in your life where something happens, maybe outside your control or within your control, and you really get your butt kicked? And afterwards you contemplate those moments and you kind of think, yeah, I don't like the feeling of being beat. I bet I could do it better if I did it again. Well, I am nothing if not a stubborn bugger. And if you saw my last camping video, and I'll put the link, go back and check that out if you haven't seen it already. Yeah, last time I camped, I wouldn't say I didn't really get lost. I always knew where I was, but I made a decision that meant that I ended up having to do a 26-kilometer hike back to my car with this pack on. And yeah, look, I don't regret it. It was a rewarding experience. But since then, the spot where I was camped, I've looked at the maps, and according to Google anyway, there is a direct track from the road basically down to where I was camping. Now, again, obviously that track was slightly visible while I was down at that site, so I've left my car at the point where it says that track meets the road, and I've been hiking now just for 10-15 minutes, and as you've seen already, it's kind of steep. And as I look around me at the moment, I'm not seeing any track or trail, certainly no marked paths, no nothing. It is just steep. It is just steep terrain, not thickly or densely wooded by any means. A lot of leaf litter on the ground, which makes it really hard and slippery on the steep surfaces. But I don't know if the camera really does it justice looking down there, but that is just over that ledge is pretty much a straight drop off. So I'm still not seeing this track. I've got a slight feeling it might be a little bit more in that direction. I'm not too keen to go down there, but I am determined to get down to the same spot where we camped last time. I don't know that I'm going to camp in the same spot, but that's going to be my landing point down in the valley. I don't know if you can see, but that's the mountain over there on the other side of the valley, where you can just see the sun hitting us just after 7 AM this morning. So I'm going to search a little bit further. I'm going to head in that direction, which kind of runs parallel to the road, and see if I can find any remnants of this track. Like I said, it's certainly not signposted, definitely not maintained or kept by any authority. The positive in that means that, you know, I'm not going to run into, or less likely to run into, the most dangerous animal you're ever going to come across in the Australian bush, which is of course Homo sapien. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be left alone. So my mission for today and tomorrow is to get down to the creek again, to the same place I was last time, find my way down. We're going to have a good time. I'm certainly going to be cooking up a storm. Wait till you see what I've got in my bag to cook. Anyway, and then more importantly, different to last time that I was camping, I'm hoping to make a more direct route straight out. Let's crack on and see if we can find this path down there, eh? Hope you enjoy. I think I've found probably the least steep way down so far, which is down that way. And keep in mind still, if you lost your footing down there, you would slide and keep sliding. It's that steep. But that is so far the least steep entry point to the next level. There's like what looks like a plateau along that there, down further. Certainly nowhere near the bottom. I'm going to give that a crack. Let's go, boy. Oh, okay, I was standing on a thing that used to be there, and it's now there. Alright, I think I've found my way down to the next section, at least a drop of another 20 metres or so. Just this path here heads down that way. So I'm going to head down there as far as I can see and keep going, and I would estimate, looking at the mountain on the other side, which the sun is starting to hit on the other side there, I would estimate that I'm probably halfway down. Maybe halfway down. Okay, there's my first signs of water. Just a little puddle, but it means we're getting close to the bottom. I need to continue following the creek, or this runoff area down, because it's going to get to the creek eventually. Just a matter of how thick the jungle gets. Still on the right path. I had to check the satellite image, and I was a little bit further south than I expected to be, so headed off straight away in a more of a northerly direction, and before not too long I've found something that looks familiar. Let me show you. So that's a boundary fence post and barbed wire. Now if you did watch the last video right at the start on the second day, before I started heading off in the wrong direction, I stumbled across some cleared land and a bit of private property. I'm pretty sure I stepped over the remnants of that fence before I went into that property. So if I follow basically that way, or I need to go more in that direction, I'm guaranteed to hit the campsite. Shouldn't be too long now. I've stumbled onto that private property again. Curious. I know exactly where I am. Heading back to the clearing. Get the hell out of here. Before some rather irate rural resident comes out with a shotgun. I'm back into the clearing now. There we go. So it looks a bit familiar from last time, doesn't it? Let's get the hell out of here. Freaky, freaky. Alright, I'm safe. We're back on the Yowie path. This is what I mean. Have a go at this, right? So that's where I've just come from. That dead ends right at that private property. There's no other sign of any path anywhere, and you can kind of make out trail goes that way. That's where I came from last time. That's where we're heading. The Google Maps says this trail comes along here, along to there, and pretty much at that point should immediately turn left and go up the hill. No sign whatsoever of any path. It's certainly not maintained, that's for sure. Anyway, it does mean we're not far from our landing point, or the original campsite. So I'll bring you back when I get there. Live on it, but it tastes like shit. Well, what a difference 10 minutes makes in the weather. They did say there was a bit of a system coming through. I've just reached the campsite from last time, and just to show you, I hope you can hear me over the wind. Jesus. Here's the rock with the writing on it. There we go. So we made it back, and despite the detour through that horror movie set back there, it was a lot quicker to get here than the 7.5 hour hike I did getting out last time. I really wasn't expecting any rain. They said on the forecast that I think said 10% chance of rain, but I'm sure the forecast said less than 1 millimetre. So hopefully it won't last long, but it is looking pretty dark. So that campsite is still very much a viable spot to stay. I'm not in the hammock this time. Going back to the tarp. So wherever I do decide to stay, I'm going to need to find enough of a clearing to put the ground sheet down and the tarp. So a little bit less water flowing this time as well, which means it's going to be hopefully a little bit easier to cross this creek. Now that the clouds have come over, obviously it's gotten a bit darker. And when I was here last time, I did think that I wanted to check out the other side of the creek. And again, the so-called track that Google says is here, it says crosses there, and you can see where there is or used to be a used path. But also checking the topographical map, it did show some flat areas over there, a little bit bigger than there are on this side. So I'm going to make my way across this creek, hopefully won't fall on my ass, and go and explore over that side for a bit before I settle down. Alright folks, well, I've been searching around on this side of the creek for a while now, and it's not looking great. It's there's a couple of flattish spots. It certainly goes to show how deceptive those topographic maps can be. Look, there's a couple of spots, but I would have had to have, you know, cleared the ground a little bit of actual living plants, ripping out ferns and small trees and stuff like that. And while I'm not a die-hard greenie or anything, obviously enjoying coming out and enjoying nature and the wilderness, I'm really not into killing it. So yeah, ripping out plants ain't my thing. I love the place too much. So it's looking at this stage like I'm going to make my way back to the original campsite where I was last time, unless I find somewhere on the way back to there that's more suitable. That's where I'm going to camp. Okay, I've chosen to accept defeat. I've come back to the spot where I was last time. There's a little bit of light here at the moment. The sun's starting to come through. I can see some blue sky. Hopefully it's going to start warming up. As you can see, this area is nice and clear. It's not in the middle of any path. Not that I think anyone follows these paths anyway, because like I said, I couldn't find the path coming down. Not until you get right to the bottom, so obviously it's not used anymore. And the other side of the creek, it disappears as soon as you get over the other side of the creek. So I'm not expecting to see any people coming through. So what I'm going to do, I want to start organising my fire and cooking arrangements, because as I mentioned before, I do have something a little bit special for dinner today. I want it to cook low and slow over the fire, so that by the time I come to eat it, it's going to be nice and tender. You wait till you see what I pull out of my bag. Ooh, hang on for that one. And I want to try and have it done and ready to eat before it gets dark, just so it looks a bit nicer for you guys. You're not watching me eat by torchlight. Well, look at that. I can do it just like all the other YouTubers. Woohoo! I'm doing alright for time. As you saw, the fire's going. I've got my rack made. It's 11:15. So as you might or might not have guessed from my little bit of a setup there, that I've kind of been stewing over in my mind for the last couple of days on how I'm going to do what I want to do. That we're not cooking veggie patties today. Just jokes. Nothing wrong with veggie patties. No, we're going the meat, and I'm going to try and slow cook it over the fire over the next couple of hours. But what meat, I hear you ask? Let me reveal. Check this out. Woohoo! Ring, ring. Pork ribs. Check out the size of that rack. It could be human. About the same size as my rack. So yes, that's what's on the menu for today. And no veggies, no bread. We're not making damper this trip. It's pork ribs all the way. So there we go, pork ribs. So I've got a dry rub I knocked together that I'm going to season this with, and I'm going to tie it on the rack. Let's get cracking. Let's get the rub on here, and we'll see if we can get that tied to that rack. Now I just made this up with whatever I had in the in the pantry at home. It's mostly salt, pepper. I think there's a bunch of smoked paprika, some chili powder, cayenne powder. I think there's some nutmeg maybe in there. To be honest, I don't, or maybe some dried oregano. Just if you're copying along with this recipe, just make this up with whatever you've got in the pantry. You could put a ton of sugar in there, which is quite traditional. I'm off carbs and sugar at the moment, trying to shed some kilos. So yeah, no sugar in here. I've also made a sauce to base this with at the end, which I've also done sugar-free. Yeah, but it does have some honey in it to bring the sweetness up. So anyway, I'm going to get this dry rub on and see if I can figure out how the hell I'm going to get it on that rack. There we go. Now let's see if we can get it on that rack. That's about the best spot, I reckon. Oh, here we go, cooking with cable ties. Alright, so it's been about an hour and 15 minutes since our pork was on there. It's starting to get a little bit warm on the top, but I'm going to give her a turn over and see how we go, eh? Alright, here we go. First attempt at a rollover. Is it all going to collapse? Oh, success. There we go. And as expected, it is going to be a slow cook. You can see it's starting to cook on the edges here, crispy, starting to dry out nicely. That's going to be good. That's home for the night. Nick of time as it starts to rain. Alright, I might get my gear in there. Ribs have come along alright. Yeah, it's warm enough in there. I might get that fire going a bit. So time, it's almost 2:30. It's starting to get dark already. I can see the sun directly in front of me there, shining right in my face. And I reckon we've got probably 45 minutes of sun left. if you're wondering, that's how you tell the time, how long until you've got. If you hold your arm out at arm's length and so that the sun, if you hold your arm out so that the sun sits atop your top finger there, and it's 15 minutes at arm's length. It's 15 minutes per finger, so roughly, so you can kind of tell. Because there's a bit of a mountain behind us over on this side, obviously, even though it's only 2:30, I'd say by 3:15, 3:30, that'll be the last of the sun. So before it goes down completely, I'll give you one last look around the campsite as it is in natural light. So you see at the back, I managed to knock up the internet's most janky looking heat reflector at the back. Pork's come along good. Another few minutes and it's going to be ready for another turn. It's looking nice, but I'm just starting to work on getting a little bit of firewood coming up there, piling up. This is all fairly rotten, punky stuff. This bit you just saw me cut off. It's quite solid, and that's quite a big tree over there that I got that from. So, and it's all about off the ground. So I'm going to go and get some more, because I want to get a fairly good stash for the evening. What I plan on doing is running a fire pretty much the length of that if I can, and which will reflect a lot of heat, or a lot of heat will get captured underneath the tarp under here. There we go. That's camp for tonight. Looking forward to eating that pork. Alright, I reckon these ribs are just about done. I'm going to get this sauce ready that I made up, and don't ask me what I put in it, I don't know. If I can figure it out when I get home, I'll flash it up on the screen just here. And all I know is it tasted a lot better than I expected it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it in this pan and warm it up a bit. Once that's warmed up, I'll take the ribs off and cut them up and dip them in the sauce. Alright, it's starting to bloody rain. Let's see if I can get this off and land it down on the cutting board. That'll do. Right, let's cut these up and dip them in the sauce. See how we go. That one's definitely cooked. Here comes the rain. Oh my god. Alright, I might start with those three and get this out of the rain. Have a go at that. Oh, yum. Bon appetit. Oh, oh. Oh snap. That is bang on. Definitely a bit spicy. I'll be feeling that coming out the other end tomorrow. Alright, I'm going to dig into this. I need 2 hands, so I'm putting you down. But that is a win. Yum. And I got all that to go. Woohoo! That was awesome. I got to admit, I'll be completely honest, the combination of the sauce and the dry rub was probably a little bit too hot for me on those. Man, the first few really cleaned out my sinuses and my pores. Jeez, did I sweat and I had snot pouring out of my nose. Aftermath of my feed. And I've got a couple more left over there. Smashed them. Oh, they were so good. Obviously I'm not going to leave them there. I'll chuck them in a Ziploc bag and hike them out with me tomorrow. So I'm going to chill out now. I'm pretty much, I think I got wood for the night just about, and might have a coffee, maybe set up my sleep setup and relax. Well, good morning guys. That's another camping session, another camping night done with. Yeah, what a success yesterday and last night was. It was brilliant. Food was totally on point. I hope that is as visually pleasing to you as it was for my taste buds and my stomach. That was good. That was awesome. I've never done ribs like that on the fire, and to have it turn out so great was really nice. Had a reasonably good night. It was blowing an absolute gale here last night. I was because of that, I was really tuned into any sort of noises and cracks and creaks, because the potential for a tree to come down here in high winds is fairly high. The place is full of downed large trees. There are some older, larger trees within reach that, if they had come down, could have been quite nasty. So as you saw, I've had some breakfast, fried up some bacon and eggs, and packed up the camp, and I'm ready to go. Time now has just gone 8:15, so we're getting a good start. I had a chuckle to myself thinking it was only 2 weeks ago to the day, about an hour earlier than this, that I set off from here last time, and took that wrong turn that ended up costing me that 26-kilometre hike. So obviously I'm determined not to do that again. Of that private property again. It's just through there. That's kind of the closest thing I can see here to a trail up the mountain, so I'm going to take that. We'll see what happens, eh? Alright, so as you would expect, I've come about 20 metres and already run out of what looked like possibly a trail. It goes up into that, so yeah, I'm not sure whether I should skirt around maybe this way and find a clearer path, or push on. It looks like there might be some cleared space up that way. I'm not sure. Alright, adventure begins. Come straight up the side here, which is quite steep, but the gradient here is a little bit easier going. Still, you know, very much uphill. I'd say now a gradient of about maybe 20 degrees, 25 degrees. Yeah, but yeah, no obvious path, but I do know that that's exactly heading in the direction I need to go, so I'm going to take a chance and go that way. You know, it's something I keep reminding myself while I'm being on these sorts of trips, bashing through the bush, trying to get to a certain location that's not always obvious, is that you very often come to like an impasse or a section where you just can't see your way and you can't figure out where you got to go or which direction, and it almost looks impassable. But the thing to remind yourself is that, and this applies in life too, I guess, often you'll come to a point or a stage that does look impossible to get past, but just remember that it only looks that way from the perspective of where you're standing at the moment. Make a decision, even if it's the wrong decision, it doesn't matter, but make a decision to move forward just a couple more steps, and it might just be enough to give you a new perspective where you can then see a way forward. If you can't see a way forward, well, there's no harm done there, because at least you've learnt something. You know, you can always backtrack and go back to the point of where you were at before. So yeah, sometimes you definitely reach those walls where you think there's no way I'm getting through this, but take a deep breath, just figure out enough to get the next couple of steps, and it'll give you a whole different perspective, and you might just see your way through. Bit of bush tucker. They're called G-bung. These fruit, they're G-bung. You can tell them because they've got a little stylus hanging off the end there. You can eat them at this stage, kind of, but they're mostly seed and very bitter, kind of a bitter apple taste. So if you were desperate in the bush trying to stay alive, you could eat them like that. What actually happens is, as they ripen, they fall to the ground. They're still green while they fall on the ground, and then gradually on the ground they start to ripen properly and they'll turn a darker colour, and you pick them up off the ground and eat them. Obviously you've got to beat the animals to them, because a lot of animals love them. I think that's wombat poo. I'm no expert on poo. I think that's wombat poo, certainly a grass eater, and it's kind of square. Good to put in the fire to keep the mozzies away. That's a funnel web hole. So I think I have found the remnants of a track and kind of make it out. It's coming up around there. Where I am at the moment, I'm clinging to a rock, and I know the camera doesn't really do it justice. I would say the angle below me is probably about an 80-degree slope down that way. I don't think I'm actually too far away from the road, so I think this is as good a spot as ever to say my goodbyes. I think I've done pretty good time actually. It's only 9:20, so I think I've been going for, time flies, I think I've been going for maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, who cares? Who cares about time? That's why we come out here, eh? So, there we go, I just got phone signal. So look, I'm going to say my goodbyes now. Again, thank you very much for watching. If you watched all the way through to now, thank you very much for watching through to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to my long time supporters and subscribers, and a huge thank you to those recent subscribers. There's been quite a few people jump on board, so certainly more than I'm used to in the last few weeks, the last couple of months that I've been doing these camping videos. Look, I thoroughly enjoy them. I hope you enjoy them too. Please comment, please like, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Share them. Look, the more you guys respond, the more motivated I am to get out here and do this sort of stuff. So I thoroughly love it, but there's obviously, you know, a bit of effort involved in filming and editing and the expense and all that sort of stuff, but you know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. Anyway, I'll sign off now. It's been an awesome trip. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.